to my channel. In this part, we'll discuss about the concept double helix model of DNA. Deoxyribonucleic acid, which is abbreviated as a DNA, is a genetic material in most of the organism. This DNA is a complex macromolecule which is present inside the nucleus of a cell. For the first time, this macromolecule was extracted or isolated by Friedrich Mischer from the pus cell that he had obtained from the discarded bandage. Later, it is by the Altman who named this macromolecule as a nucleic acid. From this nucleic acid, two pyrimidine molecule and two purine molecule were demonstrated by Cosell, and for the same work he got a prestigious Nobel Prize. And it is during 1953, James D. Watson and Francis H.C. Crick who prepared a model to explain the three-dimensional structure of the DNA. Anyhow, Watson and Crick, they utilized the major information regarding the structure of the DNA by Rosalind Franklin. Rosalind Franklin, she prepared X-ray diffraction photography of DNA to explain the structure of the DNA. So this information that she got from the X-ray diffraction photography was utilized by Watson and Crick to prepare this model. And this model is popularly known as double helix model of DNA. According to double helix model, DNA is made up of two polynucleotide chain. Polynucleotide means many number of nucleotide. So single nucleotide, it consists of sugar molecule which is attached to phosphate and a nitrogenous base. So sugar, phosphate and nitrogenous base together form single nucleotide. So many such nucleotides are joined together to form a single polynucleotide chain. So DNA is made up of two such polynucleotide chain, and each of this polynucleotide chain in the DNA is coiled in the form of right-handed helix or right-handed spiral to form a double helix, and it is compared to twisted ladder. So ladder consists of uprights and rungs or the steps, isn't it? So if you twist that ladder, it looks somewhat like this. And each of this polynucleotide chain consists of backbone which is made up of repeating units of phosphate and sugar. So this repeating units of phosphate and sugar or the backbone is compared to uprights of the ladder. And the base pair is present in between this polynucleotide chain, or it is present at right angle to the polynucleotide chain. And this base pair which is present at right angle to the polynucleotide chain is compared to the rungs or steps of the ladder. The base which is present on one strand always pair with the base which is present on the another strand. And this base pairing mainly due to the formation of a hydrogen bond between the bases. The four bases which is present on the DNA are adenine, thymine, guanine and cytosine. So base pairing is specific, that is double ringed purine, that is adenine, guanine, always pairs with the single ringed pyrimidine, that is thymine, cytosine. Okay, and the base pairing is more specific, that is adenine always pairs with the thymine and guanine always pairs with the cytosine. So I already told that base pairing is due to the formation of hydrogen bond. So between adenine and thymine there is a two hydrogen bond formation, and between guanine and cytosine there is a formation of a three hydrogen bond. And this type of pairing is known as complementary base pairing. So because of this complementary base pairing nature of the DNA, so if you know the sequence of one strand, one can predict the base sequence of another strand. For example, imagine this as a DNA strand, and the base pairing of or base sequence of this strand is A, T, T, G, C, C. And you can predict the base sequence of the another strand, that is A always pairs with the T, T always pairs with the A, T always pairs with the A, G always pairs with the C, and C with the G, and C with G. So this is the base sequence of the another strand. So if you know the base sequence of one strand, base sequence of another strand can be easily predicted. In the DNA, the amount of purine is equal to amount of pyrimidine. That is A plus G equal to T plus C. Or in other word, A is equal to T and G is equal to C. Because adenine always pairs with thymine and guanine always pairs with cytosine. So their number must be equal. And this rule is known as Chargaff's rule. So according to Chargaff's rule, the number of purine is equal to number of pyrimidine. Apart from that, in a DNA molecule, the distance between the two successive base pair is 0.34 nanometer or 3.4 angstrom. And a turn will have 10 base pair. So this is a single turn which have 10 base pair. And two successive base pair will approximately rotate 36 degrees. So if you imagine this as a single base pair and the immediate next base pair will rotate approximately 36 degrees. So the 10 base pair will make a full turn of 360 degrees. In a DNA strand, two polynucleotide chain always runs in opposite direction. If one strand runs from 5' to 3' direction, another strand will run from 3' to 5' direction. Here 5' and 3' represents the carbon atom which is present on the sugar molecule which is attached to phosphate group. For example, 5' means fifth carbon of the sugar molecule is attached to phosphate group. 3' means third carbon of the sugar molecule is attached to phosphate group. In a DNA molecule, there are mainly two groups, minor group and major group. So minor group and major group can be visualized from outside. So minor group will have a width of about 1.2 nanometer and major group have a width of about 2.2 nanometer. The length and the number of base pair in a DNA depends on the different species. For example, Escherichia coli have 4.6 millions of base pair and human haploid genome has 16 to 10 to the power of 9 base pair. So the length of the DNA and the number of base pair which is present on the DNA is specific to specific species. So that is about the structure of the DNA which is explained by Watson and Crick in double helix model of DNA. I hope you understood the concept. If you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.